Hey everybody, Zach here, and it is time for the show that can only be described as a mishmash of various forms of entertainment. Sit back and relax and get ready because we are on air. Host is on air and off his rocker. That's right, we are on air. So on today's show, I thought we would take a trip down memory lane because I'm a very nostalgic person, longing for the old days when times were simpler and less significantly, crazy. Zach, why do you want to go back? Have you seen the present? Yes, but I'm not all too confident about the future. But I digress. Now, one of those things that was very prominent in my childhood, like all of us, was TV. I always would joke and say while other kids were raised by SpongeBob and Scooby-Doo, I was raised by the Weather Channel. No joke. When my grandma was alive, we would always go to her place and I'd sit in the bedroom watching the Weather Channel. I mean, look, I watch weather like it's a football game. Go cold front, knock that hurricane off its course. And the storms run wild in the high plains. Ah! So I value my childhood sometimes, and one big part of that was a man known as Mr.Dressup. I remember always watching him in clearly my early years. Now, on Amazon Prime, there is a documentary on Ernie Coombs, also known as Mr.Dressup, and I encourage you to watch it, especially if you grew up with him, and you'll hear in a moment lots and lots and lots of people did. All right, one of the biggest memories I have of seeing him was at Villanova long before I was a student there. Sorry, misspoke. Now, I sent out the Zach signal, and many of you answered the call when I posted, "Do you remember Mr. Dressup?" And here are the answers that I got. Christina Marchetti, my daughter, and I saw one of his last shows at St. Thomas of Villanova. Me too, girl. Chris Brown, not that Chris Brown, but he said, I had the opportunity to see his show being taped when I was about 4 to 5 years old. My great aunt took me when we were visiting her in Toronto. Cara Gagne, lucky. Cara Gagne, I met him when I was in high school. I was so starstruck. He was the sweetest. She also posted a piece of paper that I'm going to throw up on the YouTube version of this, and it says, to Cara, love, Mr. Dressup. Oh man, those are mementos you gotta keep. Darcy Munn, my son is named after his puppet Finnegan. Terry Garr, yes, I remember, loved it. Tells us how old we are, lol. True that, Terry, true that. Margaret Mason, personally, not a favorite, but my daughter loved and watched his show regularly. Same with Peppa Pig. I don't like Peppa Pig, but I would have to watch it, and I still hate it. Laura Zarlinga, I saw him when he came to the Cleary mid-late 80s. And there it is, a trip down memory lane. I might as well have just said, Zach is so old. Don't finish that sentence. Do not finish that sentence. Folks, picture it. You're in the car and your favorite song comes on. And you're singing along thinking you know the lyrics. I know it happens all the time. And that is what is known as misheard lyrics. I can't tell you how many times I'll be singing along and sometimes it's not even close. For example, one of my favorite Taylor Swift songs is Style, and the lyrics I kept hearing is fake interview, I haven't even heard from you, when in reality, fade into view, I haven't even heard from you. And it's not even that one. Her song Blank Space also has a misheard lyric. The fake lyrics, all the lonely Starbucks lovers, the real lyrics, got a long list of ex-lovers. How do those two even sound remotely close? I swear, these people are just looking for an excuse to put Starbucks into the name. Anyway, I did some research and found the most common misheard lyrics out there. Here is Dancing Queen from ABBA, feel that beat on the tangerine. While the correct lyric is, feel that beat on the tambourine. Okay, that makes sense. The next one is from the Beatles and their song, I Want to Hold Your Hand, but it sometimes comes out as, I Want to Hold Your Hand. Queen Celine is not immune. Queen Celine is not immune in her song, My Heart Will Go On. The lyric goes, I believe that the heart does go on, but some hear, I believe that the hot dogs go on. I believe that the hot dogs go on. Sir Mix-a-Lot was sure singing about liking big butts. He sings, I like big butts and I cannot lie. Though some people hear, I like big butts and a can of limes. My anaconda don't want unless you got limes, hun. And lastly, my favorite one of all time, Elton John's song, Tiny Dancer. Some hear, hold me closer, Tiny Dancer, while other people, like me, hear, hold me closer, Tony Danza. Hold me closer, Tony Danza. I've even reached out to you in the audience. I mean, who knew there was still a bit of power left in the Zach signal? Anyway, y'all chimed in with Avery Taverner. When I was a little kid, I thought the song Another Brick in the Wall had the words, no dogs and cats are in the classroom, instead of no dark sarcasm in the classroom. Susie McGee said, under pressure, under pressure. Queen and David Bowie. Honey West said, sweet dreams are made of cheese. Bev Atkinson Hayden said, poor little poo. Oh yeah, I was a poo. By Ricky Nelson and Poor Little Fool. I was very young when I first heard it. And Victoria Ann Bourne said Taylor Swift Starbucks Lover instead of Star-Crossed Lover. In my case, there are dozens of misheard lyrics. Well, again, thank you all for chiming in, and now we're going to get on with the rest of the show. The Olympics are still going strong. Now, there are some winners, losers, and losers because of wieners. That's exactly, you did hear that right. Pole vaulter Anthony Ammirati attempted to clear the 5.70 meters on Saturday when his knee and manhood ruined his chances of a medal. Man, I hate when that happens. Now, if I may comment, first of all, call me. Second, if I can offer some words of advice, you're just an up-and-comer, just rising in the world of sports. We're just starting out, but don't worry, this is only the tip of the iceberg. And nobody is going to remember that you had a big flop. I will say this man has a bright future ahead of him because porn sites have been offering this pole vaulter, whose penis got him disqualified. By the way, it really was the Battle of the Bulge. Cam Soda VP Darren Parker, who finds an opportunity for Ammirati in his loss, said, quote, if it was up to me, I'd award you for what everyone else saw, your talent below the belt. As a lover of crotch-centric activities, by the way, a phrase nobody else would ever hear, I'd love to offer you up to $250,000 in exchange for a 60-minute webcam show, in which show off your goods, minus the crossbar, of course. 60 minutes? I'm barely struggling to do 30 minutes here, and I'm fully clothed. Who does what for 60 minutes? Like, what does 60 minutes of nakedness entitle? I mean, we could go down the list. CSI, Crotch Scene Investigators, Genital Hospital, and Blue Balls. Anywho, I'm moving right along. I don't care about you if y'all want to stick to that, but I'm moving right along. Stay right where you are because we are just getting started. Stick around because I have this week in weather history another edition of Did You Know? And my views and reviews, plus the weirdest news found on the internet. Don't touch that dial because we are on air.
Wave Beats Music.
Now, if you know anything about me by now, I love weather. I love it. I love, present weather, maybe future weather if it pans out, because I got something going on Labor Day weekend, so I hope we get that. We hope we get good weather for that. But I also love historic weather, and that's why I'm taking this time to read you a list of weather events in this week in weather history. On August 9th, 1918, an estimated F2 tornado touched down east of Bristol, South Dakota. According to accounts, the funnel was said to look like a long snake in a spiral, as it was destroying nearby barns. August 9th, 1992, a twister packing winds estimated between 113 and 157 miles per hour caused significant damage to the town of Chester. 4 businesses were destroyed, 3 others had significant damage, and 5 had minor damage. An elevator and new grain bin were leveled, and another bin was heavily damaged. Most of the building housing the fire department was demolished. Many houses and vehicles sustained damage, and large trees were uprooted or broken off. 1 mile north of Chester, an entire house was moved off its foundation. The town had to be evacuated for 19 hours after the tornado because the tornado damaged a 12,000-gallon ammonia tank, releasing 4,000 gallons of liquid gas into the air. The ammonia was a health hazard, forcing residents out. To the south of Chester, the storm destroyed a new convenience store and blew 2 fuel tanks over 100 yards. In 1878, the second deadliest tornado in New England history struck Wallingford, Connecticut, killing 34 and injuring 100 others, and destroying 30 homes. The tornado started as a waterspout over a dam on the Quinnipiac River. It should be noted that the deadliest New England tornado occurred in 1953 when an F4 killed 90 people in Worcester, Massachusetts. In 1969, an F3 tornado hit Cincinnati, Ohio, killing 4 and causing $15 million property damage. The tornado moved into southeasterly direction at 40 to 50 miles per hour. That's this week in weather history. Let's keep the historic events at bay. Taking a step further into history, the bandshell. This prominent piece of Windsor history is located in Jackson Park and clearly has seen better days. Now, I took a visit to this prominent concert venue for my latest episode of Did You Know? Here is the history behind the Jackson Park bandshell. It was once a sprawling attraction that drew crowds of many with all variety of entertainment. So what happened to this once popular landmark in Jackson Park? I'll tell you in this edition of Did You Know? The Jackson Park bandshell was built in 1950. However, 7 years after, it was destroyed by a fire. A couple of years after that, Windsor City Council approved to have a new structure built. Now, it really isn't clear as to why the Jackson Park bandshell became neglected, though one theory online suggests that when the Windsor Stadium was built, the grandstand was blocking the bandshell, rendering it obsolete. The bandshell has hosted some of the most well-known acts, such as Diana Ross and the Supremes, Martin Luther King Jr., and former First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt. The more you know. For Mediaplex News, I'm Zachary Balogh. Okay, I've been doing the homework, compiling everything I've been watching into a list I like to call Zach's Watch List. This first one is a good one, especially for the times we're living in. Head of State, a low-level Washington, D.C. public servant, Mays Gilliam, played by Chris Rock, is thrust into the national spotlight when he's asked by Martin Geller, Dylan Baker, the head of the Democratic Party, to run for president after the party's presidential and vice presidential nominees are killed in a plane crash. The odds are against Gilliam, mostly because he has a penchant for telling the truth about what is wrong with the country. I mean, isn't that what that's supposed to be? Like, if you're running for president, maybe you should probably tell the truth. Anywho, remarkably, I know politics and truth is an oxymoron, and I've known a few in my day. Remarkably, his straight-talking style catches on with the public. Next up is the Mr.Dressup documentary. The film profiles Ernie Coombs, the children's entertainer who created and starred in the long-running Canadian television series Mr.Dressup, documenting his career and its impact on Canadian culture and entertainment. Well, that's this edition of my watch list. I hope I inspired you to watch something new. It's that time of the show where I talk about all forms of entertainment, new and old. Time for Zach's Views and Reviews. Amazon Prime has been putting out some really great docs lately with Celine Dion, and now a look at Canada's Mr. Rogers, Mr.Dressup. The film, titled Mr.Dressup, The Magic of Make-Believe, gave us an inside look at the life and career of Ernie Coombs, from his days partnering with Mr. Rogers to becoming his own icon. There were some seriously tender moments in this film, and I thought they did a great job of telling the story. But I don't know if you've noticed, because Mr. Rogers is actually kind of responsible giving Mr. Dressup his start. Anyway, it was a great telling of the stories. 4 Z's all around. Next up, Sugarland fans, rejoice! The country duo is coming out today with a new record called There Goes the Neighborhood. Now, as of this recording, I'm unable to find the track list, but, I mean, this would be their first music release since their album Bigger back in 2018, which featured the song Babe, performed with Taylor Swift. Love that. It's probably, I'm going to probably upset some Swifties here by saying that Sugarland's version is better than Taylor's version. I'm sorry, it's the way it is. I can't do anything about it. The album is expected to be an online release on music platforms but hey, it's something new. And now, one of my favorite Sugarland songs is called Baby Girl, and it's, that's classic, country 2005. And now, because I'm unable to find a song from from their latest release, I'm actually going to play their 2005 hit, Baby Girl.
They say this town stars stay up all night. Well, I don't know, can't see them for the glow of the neon lights, and it's a long way from here to the place where the home fires burn. Well, it's 2,000 miles and one left turn. Dear Mom and Dad, please send money. I'm so broke that it ain't funny. Well, I don't need much, just enough to get me through. Please don't worry, 'cause I'm alright. See, I'm playing here at the bar tonight. Well, this time I'm gonna make our dreams come true. Well, I love you more than anything in the world. Love your baby girl. Black top, blue sky, big town full of little white lies. Well, everybody's your friend, you can never be sure. They'll promise fancy cars and diamond rings and all sorts of shiny things, but girl, you'll remember what your knees are for. Dear Mom and Dad, please send money. I'm so broke that it ain't funny. Well, I don't need much, just enough to get me through. Please don't worry, 'cause I'm alright. See, I'm playing here at the bar tonight. Well, this time I'm gonna make our dreams come true. Well, I love you more than anything in the world. Love your baby girl. I know that I'm on my way. Well, I can tell every time I play, and I know it's worth all the dues I pay. When I can write to you and say, Dear Mom and Dad, I'll send money. I'm so rich that it ain't funny. Well, it ought to be more than enough to get you through. Please don't worry, 'cause I'm alright. See, I'm staying here at the Ritz tonight. What do you know, we made our dreams come true. And there are fancy cars and diamond rings, but you know that they don't mean a thing. Well, they all add up to nothing compared to you. Well, remember me in ribbons and curls. I still love you more than anything in the world. Love your baby girl. Your baby girl. Please send money. I'm so broke that it ain't funny. Don't need much, just enough to get me through. Your baby. Please don't worry, 'cause I'm alright. Playing here at the bar tonight. Dreams come true.
All right, moving on. When you hear about at-home deliveries, you don't normally hear about this one. 911 operator helps expectant mom through surprise at-home delivery. Man, that's something Amazon can't get you. When a 911 call came in saying a woman in Nashville was experiencing sudden labor, emergency operator Caitlin Kramer says her training kicked in as she successfully coached the expectant mom and bystanders through delivering a healthy baby boy. Audio of the July 7th call reveals that Kramer's calm voice guiding the process, even as the voices on the other end grew frantic as the mother's water broke. The ambulance arrived and Kramer got to congratulate the mother and bystanders on a job well done. The family did not respond to a request for an interview. Clearly the dad was no help. Anyway, if you thought that was weird, you ain't seen nothing yet, because it's Friday, and yes, that means it's time for the weirdest news found on the internet. Time for weird news. Talk about a whale of a tale. A whale has breached the ocean in spectacular fashion as surfers competed in the Olympic competition in Tahiti. Athletes Tatiana Weston Webb from Brazil and Brisa Hennessy from Costa Rica were training in their semifinals when a large whale approached out of nowhere and launched itself into the air. The whale picture is also the second eye-catching image from this year's Olympic surfing event last week. A photo of Brazil's Gabriel Medina seemingly levitating above the ocean with his arm raised went viral. I wonder if they can speak whale. From Tahiti to Tampa, it's time for
Florida man, does whatever a Florida man can. Look out, here comes the Florida man.
A Florida man went on a late-night junk food and cigarette splurge inside a closed Walgreens store after purposely locking himself into the restroom, police say. That normally happens before, or if you've eaten the right amount of Taco Bell. I don't know. Christopher Morgan was arrested by police just after 3 a.m. Monday at a Walgreens in New Smyrna Beach with his pockets stuffed with candy. New Smyrna Beach is a city south of Dayton Beach, a surf hub known for its miles of white sand beaches. Police say that Morgan entered the store at 9:40 p.m., where he went into a restroom. The footage then shows him leaving the bathroom at around 2:40 a.m. Keep in mind, Walgreens closes at 10. He then walked around the store grabbing food and cigarettes. He made no attempts to exit the business or call for help to get out, indicating that he hid in the restroom, intentionally in order to later steal the items. Morgan feasted on Tostitos, spinach dip, chips, Reese's chocolate, Ghirardelli chocolate bars, and Dr. Pepper, while also treating himself to Newport cigarettes, police said. Yep, that'll do it. Police responded to the scene after an alarm in the store went off, and when they arrived, they spotted Morgan through the front doors of the store, taking a pack of cigarettes from behind the counter. Aside from jail, it's really going to be a long and miserable night for you. Anywho, that is the weirdness for this week, and since we are at the end of the show, I thought it would be great to reach into my bag of dad jokes and to see what we can pull out. I don't know, these seem to be getting these really seem to be getting more interesting as we move it along here. All right, I'm going to pull this one out and see what we got. What is the dog's favorite city? New Yorkie. I mean, that was a good one, but we have time. We're going to go through some more here. I know. Oh my God, I can practically hear the eyes rolling. Y'all don't even have to groan. I can just hear the eyes rolling. Why did the boy name his dog Hamlet? Because it was a Great Dane. I don't know. I don't get that one. I'm glad. Here, let's go through some more here. Let's try to see. Yada, 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 yada. We got time. The time is mine. What is a runner's favorite subject at school? Geography. Man, y'all can't see what I'm doing, which is probably a great thing, but I botched that one really, really good. All right, what is a runner's favorite subject at school? Geography. This is not going well for anybody. I can tell you that right now. This is not going well for anybody. All right, here, we'll redeem ourselves with this one. This one seems to be a good one. What vegetable can work as a sports announcer? A commentator. And I feel like that's my nickname. That's going to be my nickname from here on out. Oh my God. All right, well. Oh my God. Not only is that the weirdness for you this week, but that is the show. And I mean, oh my God, we've had such a great time. And now I'll see you again next week. Same place, same time. But for right now, I got to kick you out. Why Semisonic?
Closing time. Open all
doors and let you out into the world. Closing time, turn all of the lights on over every boy and every girl. Closing time, one last call for alcohol, so finish your whiskey or beer. Closing time, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. I know who I want to take me home. I know who I want to take me home. I know who I want to take me home. Take me home. Closing time, time for you to go out to the places you will be from. Closing time, this room won't be open till your brothers or your sisters come. So gather up your jackets, move it to the exits. I hope you have found a friend. Closing time, every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. Yeah, I know who I want to take me home. I know who I want to take me home. I know who I want to take me home. Take me home. Some other